Very original, very original. I'm going to talk about Xbox. Okay, Xbox, and I'm talking like, speaking of the word original, I'm talking about the original Xbox, the huge, like the big black and slightly green one with the circle on the top. When I was a kid, that was a huge part of my childhood because my older brothers, they're about 10 years older than me, they got one. Excuse me. They got one, and we used to play Halo at the house, and then there was like a bunch of like Star Wars games that we would play. Like one of them, you like only played like vehicles, and you fought each other with vehicles, and then obviously Star Wars Battlefront. There's a few Incredible Hulk games on there that I liked. Spy versus Spy, like a lot of games, right? So a big part of my childhood. When I was a little bit older, when I was in middle school, I got the Xbox 360, and just like many people out there, like millions of other people, that was my main pastime. It was a huge thing for my friend group. When I first got access to Xbox Live, like that was game changing. And they actually had, a lot of people don't know this for some reason, but they actually had Xbox Live on the original Xbox as well. But I think it wasn't very accessible to most people because most homes didn't even have internet at that time. And if they did, they had dial-up. Like at my house, we only had dial-up internet. And even at that time, my parents were very skeptical of having the internet in the first place because it was still, I don't want to say in its infancy because that's not totally accurate, but I would say in the broad scheme of things, yes, it was in its infancy. But Xbox One came out, and that's kind of where everybody knows the backslide started to happen, and the rest is history. But this year, Microsoft announced the largest restructuring in Xbox history, heavily impacting the broader gaming landscape. So that's taken straight from this article I'm reading. Quick fact sheet here. The cuts. Xbox is laying off approximately 3,200 employees. That's roughly a whopping 20% of its workforce over a 12-month period. So over a year, they're gonna get rid of 20% of the workforce. They're gonna fire over 3,000 employees. This next section, they said studio closures and spin-offs. As a part of this overhaul, Microsoft is divesting 5 acquired studios, including selling off Ninja Theory and Undead Labs, spinning off Double Fine and Compulsion Games to go indie, and reviewing options for Arcane Studios. So I think kind of another part of their downfall is they stopped producing their own games, and they stopped putting a lot of effort into their own games. And what I mean by that is they already had their own studios, and they just quit using them to their top ability, like to the most ability, in my opinion. Maybe that's controversial, I don't know. But from my kind of limited understanding of it, it seems like they spent too much money and too much time acquiring other studios that they thought would be easy to make money off of, that seemed successful to them. Like, for example, Blizzard, they acquired Blizzard, but I think at that time, most likely the reason why it was up for acquisition in the first place and they were looking to sell is they just weren't doing that well anymore. I mean, World of Warcraft had already started declining a little bit at that point, and now their player base is at an all-time low. You can argue one of two things. They either changed the game too much or they didn't change it enough to match the times. For my opinion, they changed it too much because their classic servers are a lot more popular than their current servers. And instead of fixing the current game, they just kind of rely on that and releasing old content, which seems to be a trend in the gaming industry. Continuing the article, what's happening according to Microsoft. Poor financial health. So internal memos from Xbox leadership state that the business is, quote, not healthy and operates at profit margins 3 to 10 times lower than comparable tech businesses. Holy fucking shit. Well, honestly, I don't have the knowledge to even identify what that problem is. I don't think PlayStation's having that issue, and a lot of it is probably comes down to marketing, or what I said earlier, that they stopped producing their own titles and they started acquiring titles. And the titles that they did produce, like Halo, were just not as good as they used to be. And, you know, Halo has reset, what, like 3 times now? Like, Halo 5 was sort of a reset. Halo Infinite was a reset. I don't even fucking know if they have another Halo game because I don't pay attention to it anymore. That's how bad it was. And Halo was, like, definitely, like, the life, soul, and blood of my childhood. And I just quit giving a shit about it. And same with World of Warcraft, which speaks volumes, at least for me in my personal life. Continuing failed growth expectations. So following massive investments, including the $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard, which is another thing. I mean, Activision and Blizzard merged, which is a whole other can of worms. It's a bit of an odd decision for them to do that, in my opinion, in the first place. But the acquired studios and Xbox Game Pass subscriptions did not grow at the anticipated pace. I mean, that's kind of what happens when most of your titles aren't even quite that good. And then on top of that, people are struggling financially quite bad. So entertainment gets put on the back burner. Let's see, hardware crisis and losses. So Microsoft noted a severe industry-wide hardware slump and revealed they were losing 64 cents for every dollar invested into the Xbox business. Investing money into a business isn't going to save you. You got to also invest like creativity, right? Because gaming is an art. It's an art form. It's an entertainment industry, of course. Just throwing money at something isn't going to magically make it good. For example, they said they're focusing on indie titles. Indie titles historically recently have been doing quite a bit better in terms of at least fan reception. So throwing a bunch of money at something, which seems to be Microsoft's solution for a lot of issues, including, what the hell is that called? Copilot, which everybody hates. Nobody likes Copilot. That's not going to magically fix the issue. So I'm not shocked there. Criticism to the layoff. So just, I've been seeing this a lot on social media too. Like a lot of people are criticizing this. So main thing it says here is executive mismanagement. It says critics and industry insiders argue that executives aggressively spent billions buying up studios to consolidate power. There you go. Before I even got to that part of the article, because I don't proofread shit, because I don't care. I already called that. So buying up studios to consolidate power only to punish the workforce when those bloated investments didn't immediately turn profit. Yeah, no shit. This seems to be a common thing in the tech industry. I mean, kind of like the circle jerk investing of AI right now. I mean, that's kind of like their mindset. And they think it's going to be an easy way to raise stock prices and things like that. So no shocker there. That didn't work out. Broken promises. Gamers and developers are frustrated that Microsoft is abandoning or selling beloved independent studios shortly after buying them under the premise of providing them with backing and resources. Yeah, obviously you can take the trust of a multi-billion-dollar tech company as far as you can throw it. I mean, no shit, they bought it as an easy way out and an easy way to make profit. Like I said, throwing money at something doesn't really do anything. It kind of reminds me of private equity. Private equity will buy up businesses, quote unquote, improve them for profit and then sell them, and that usually fucking slaps the millennial gray on them, so to speak, and ruins them. I mean, that sort of seems like what Microsoft's been doing. But this next section in the article says broader industry and criticisms and player frustration. So, looking at this right before I read it, I agree with a lot of this. So beyond the corporate layoffs, the day-to-day experience of playing video games has drastically changed, leading to widespread burnout among average players. So I actually talked about this before, and I'm posting my videos out of order. So I either already posted it or haven't posted it yet. I can't remember, but I was talking about the same thing with Nintendo. Okay. So, the fix-it-later mentality is what this article says. It says publishers increasingly force developers to release games before they are finished to satisfy investor deadlines. So again, it's that kind of private equity mindset that's fucking cooking and ruining this shit. Treating players as testers. So that's actually a really creative way to word that, whoever wrote this. Titles frequently launch with game-breaking bugs, empty open worlds, and missing features, relying massive on day one patches or years of post-launch. That kind of reminds me of like how every game is released as like an alpha or a beta test, or like a PTR, rather than them actually finishing it before they release it, because they don't want to pay for in-house testing or take the time to do it. And then typically they don't even, a lot of the times, like they don't even do a full release. They just keep it in that quote unquote testing phase forever and start charging. So no surprise here for this next section, the DLC and microtransaction trap. They're cutting base content, selling it back to you as day one downloadable content, blah, blah, blah. Nintendo did that as well with Pokemon Legends ZA. I mean, they were cranking out DLC faster than you could possibly imagine. And that's like very, 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 very obvious that they're trying to follow that same path. What is this? I've never seen this before. He wrote, companies use fear of missing out by offering limited time battle passes. Oh, okay. Expensive cosmetic shops, bonuses, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Dead by Daylight's doing that too. I mean, they have the Rift Pass, and then they give you that FOMO, and they make you purchase it to get like a digital item that you won't give a shit about in like a few months. Oh, yeah. I mean, that is pretty predatory in my opinion. Yeah. Hyper competitive gaming. This is interesting. This article is talking about like the total downfall of it. It says the death of casual play. Modern multiplayer games are heavily balanced around the top 1% of competitive esports professionals. Exhausting experience for players. Blah blah blah. Yeah, that is very true. I feel like every game that I play, the balancing and everything is way too catered to the top percentage of players. It kind of reminds me of Overwatch and Dead by Daylight, where a lot of the characters that are seemingly decent in the competitive play, when you watch streamers or watch competitive footage, you go to play them in the lower play and they're dog shit, or vice versa. Like the balancing is way off. Ooh, interesting way to put this. Meta slavery. Players are pressured to strictly follow optimized metas that, mathematically best weapons or strategies. Yeah. That's a really good point. I mean, you can't. No one's stopping you from making a creative build, but you're almost guaranteed to lose in the game. The game kind of fucks you over if you don't play the sweaty builds, which creates toxic communities because there's an intense focus on stats, win rates, and aggressive skill-based matchmaking. That's actually a really good point. You see that in almost every competitive title. People turn into fucking dickheads if you're not following like the exact strategy. I feel like humans are inherently competitive in everything they do, and then you get that tribal mindset where like competitive groups want to win at all costs. That sort of reminds me of driving. I read an article the other day about drivers and how road rage is caused by like an inherently competitive nature subconsciously, particularly in men. It seems to cross over in most things. Mental health impacts, as studies show that playing highly competitive games with a win-focused mindset is directly linked to anxiety, burnout, and stress. That makes a lot of sense, because what kind of led to me stop playing a lot of games in the first place was like kind of the mental block and like me avoiding them because of like the stress I feel after finishing a match. Sometimes it's fun, like you get a rush from it, but like I had to like disable in-game chat in Dead by Daylight because of how fucking rude people are. And then you have skyrocketing costs. I'm not going to read that part because we all know that. Game titles cost over $70, $80. I mean, then you have DLC, and it's just fucking ridiculous. So no wonder the industry's failing for them. Like all of their titles, especially the multiplayer ones, of course, and the costs and everything are sort of following these trends. So I think that's accurate. I totally agree with it. It's a little fucked up that they're firing people for their mistakes. Then again, it's capitalism, so you got to do what's right for the business. But hopefully the gaming industry changes. I relate to a lot of the things that are in this article. Yeah, man. I mean, if they don't figure it out, then all that'll be left is indie titles, which, actually might be a good thing. We'll see.